4 teams down in our annual 12 Teams in 12 Days series. I'm Bobby Broyles, joined in studio with Tim McDonald. We are on to the Black Bears of Maine today, coming off a productive 2016 season under their first-year head coach Joe Harris-Simiak with a 6-5 record.
I think the record speaks for itself when you look at who Maine played and just how close the postseason came for this team. It started with 2 FBF losses. You talk about that tough one at UConn that a lot of people saw in the opener, followed by a loss at Toledo, and then back home versus JMU. Still, at the end of the day, the Black Bears responded, though, going 6-2 in the final 8 games. And keep in mind, too, with all the talk of the past years of scheduling and how difficult it is, but this is the 3rd season that Maine is playing a pair of FBS opponents. The benefits, I think, paid off down the stretch last year as 6 of those closing contests were won by single digits. Saw it a lot of times coming down to that last play or the last series. Losses at home versus Nova and New Hampshire were the obvious difference makers in terms of postseason play for this team. For me, though, it's becoming more clear each year that the Black Bears are not necessarily grasping everything, but they're getting better at understanding how to deal with such a grinding schedule because it's becoming familiar. They're understanding on a week-to-week basis how to move on quickly, and how to prep for the next team. And I think it started to pay off for me for the first time, especially in the latter half of last year.
On the defensive side, Maine returned 7 starters, including its entire secondary. How do you see this year's Black Hole unit shaping up, Tim?
Well, it's interesting because you get a guy like Najee Good, you see at Media Day, then you have a Sterling Sheffield. Both of those guys together are both all-league players at corner and linebacker, respectively. Maine was 9th last year in scoring defense and 10th in total defense. And right now, I think the biggest question mark, we don't know a whole lot about that defensive line. We don't know about the big boys up front, how that pass rush is going to be handled. You think about a guy like Pat Ricard and Christoph Malumba-Shamenga. How are you going to replace those guys? Because not only were they solid players, but they also created that type of pass rush. We really don't know a lot about the defensive line right now. But then you think, again, Darius Hart, DeAndre Scott, and Manny Patterson all have experience in the back of that secondary, and that's where the leadership is going to have to come from, along with Najee Good. Even if it's not there up front early, they're going to have to provide that leadership. And it's hard to justify having a defense that doesn't always jump off the page all the time statistically, but I think Maine is okay with that, knowing that if it is a close game, like Delaware, like New Hampshire, if it is a close game, that defense, if it's a back-and-forth style or whether it's close, it can get a stop when it needs to. Yep. I think Maine is okay with that, not saying we need to be a run-first stopping team. We need to pass and stop all these teams through the air. I think Maine is okay living that way, and they showed it down the stretch.
Coach Harris-Simiak spoke with us at Media Day on the outlook for his defense in 2017.
Yeah, I think Maine is known for its defense. It always has a tough defense, and we're looking forward to that again this year. We got a lot of pieces back. Now we do have to replace Pat Ricard, who's hopefully playing in this stadium in a couple weeks. Christoph Malumba's graduated too. He's an all-league kid, started for us for 4 years. But I think guys like Najee Good, Sterling Sheffield, we have a lot of experience in the secondary. I'm excited about the secondary. I think that group can be a very talented group. I think Manny Patterson, our other corner, that not a lot of people talk about as a special player. We had a great year for us. And then at the safety position, we have about 5 or 6 guys that have played. And then replacing Pat up front will be key, and I think we have some guys that can do it. Skylar Huntington is a senior for us. He'll have to step up and play. So I'm excited about the talent. We have a lot of young talent on defense, especially at the linebacker position as well. So guys got to step up. That's what the CAA demands, and I know they'll be ready for it.
On the other side of the ball, Maine looks to replace just 3 starters offensively, but one of those spots is critical at the quarterback position.
And how many times do we talk about critical and quarterback? But it's great to have 8 guys back, including you talk about a guy, preseason stud like Jamal Demby at tackle and leading rusher, and Josh Mack, he's also back. But the biggest question, and it's always a concern, but that QB slot. We talked about Drew Belcher in the past. A couple years back, he played. He's arguably the most experienced guy that they have right now competing for that spot. He's been effective, especially on the ground. Previous 2 seasons, he was their rushing leader. And then you have Max Staver, a guy who transferred from Houston Baptist. He's been around a little bit, also been at Florida and Tyler Community College in his career. Again, 1 year of eligibility left, so you don't really know what to hang your hat on. And a couple of unknowns in Chris Ferguson and Isaiah Robinson, both of whom are freshmen and both have been competing at camp. From what we've heard at camp, in Orono, it's still an open competition, and right now everyone is kind of sharing reps. So that is something I think we're definitely going to have to watch. But then you think of Ernest Edwards, you think of Jalil Reed, and you think of Jared Osama. All of those guys are going to have to pick up and add to that receiving duties. At times, I think you saw all of those players contribute, whether it was the UConn game, whether it was the Bryant game, but the questions under center and with those concerns, their roles in the passing game become that much more important, so they're definitely going to have to up that game. And last year, Maine ranked 3rd in the CAA for passing offense with Danny Collins at QB, 6th in scoring. Mack led the team with 712 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. And he was a true freshman, and he really came through as the staple guy towards the end of the season. should see that production load increase. And with another daunting schedule, it's not easy to break in the quarterbacks when you need experience and when you need to say, go out there and prove that you're the leader. When you have a schedule like that, it's very hard. It's easier said than done.
Speaking of quarterback, take a listen from Coach Harris-Simiak on that battle and his overall expectations for the offense.
I do. I really like what we got going on offense. Coach Cohen, Liam Cohen's in his second year as coordinator. We have a great staff on offense. Similar situation to last year with the quarterback. We didn't know who it was going to be. Same type situation this year. We'll probably look to name a quarterback second week in August. But it'll be a combination of Drew Belcher, who has started in this league, won some games. Max Staver is a graduate transfer we brought in January, so he's been there throughout spring ball. Chris Ferguson's also a redshirt freshman. We have a true freshman coming in from Baltimore, Isaiah Robinson, out of St. Francis Academy. So, it'll be wide open. I think the quarterback position, you need to create as much competition as you can. You live and die by the Q in any level of football. So we're looking forward to that. And as you mentioned, some of the pieces around the quarterback position will be very key. We return on paper 4 out of the 5 starters on the offensive line. We're looking forward to hopefully surrounding that quarterback, whoever he is, with some good talent.
Knowing the type of schedule Maine is accustomed to by now and the solid amount of starters back on both sides, what stands out for you here in 2017 for this squad?
I think for a team that finished 6-5 with that type of record to be picked 9th in the preseason, I'm using that as fuel if I'm Maine. And I'm saying we just finished 6-5, second straight year we've played 2 FBS, but 9th in the preseason poll, that seemed odd to me. And like it or not, no matter what you think, when you play 2 FBS games on a consistent basis, that margin for error, it really becomes that much closer every week. Yep. Think about that. We've referenced it before, but you talk about the Nova and New Hampshire loss in the game early, but if you win one of those games, you're likely in the playoffs. I feel like we highlight the start of the season needed for Maine year in and year out, but again, it's the same theme. You start with the opener. I mean, what an opportunity for both teams, but at New Hampshire on a Thursday night, playing for the Musket in week 1, that's hard enough, okay? So just consider that. It's a rivalry game. We get it. It's week 1. Then you throw in road games at JMU, at UCF, and Nova. That's all in the first 5 weeks of the season. I think that will tell us right away just how good the Black Bears are going to be, especially early on. Remaining highlights on this schedule include playing Delaware in Portland, Maine. That's a neutral setting. And the next week, another neutral setting, FBS foe UMass on November 11th. And that's at Fenway Park, which just remarkable and amazing for the players and fans and for the fan base and for New England football in general. Still, you think about this schedule, where do you start? I could have started at the bottom. We could have started at the top. Up and down, the Black Bears are going to be tested yet again.
Like we said, Maine opens its season on the road at New Hampshire on Thursday night, August 31st at 7 o'clock. Don't want to miss that contest, folks. Trust us.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of people will be tuning in for that. But don't forget as well, be sure to catch right now our in-depth interview with cornerback Najee Good from Media Day. That's available on CAAfootball.com and our social media platforms.
Fittingly enough, our next team for 12 teams in 12 days is New Hampshire, and we will preview the Wildcats tomorrow throughout the day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on Wednesday.